Welcome to another episode of the Clutch Entrepreneurs Podcast, episode 6. Today I have a very special guest, my first lady on the podcast, who has been in the game for 5+ years, flipped over 100 houses. She owns over 27 doors, 3 Airbnbs. She's also a mobile home park investor, specializing in owner finance and creating notes. She's even flipped 2 commercial buildings and owns one of her own, and has raised over $10 million in private money. My guest today, RosaTheCloser.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah, so, Rosa, we've known each other for, I think, since I started, right?
Yeah.
And we've been very good friends. And so it's actually a pleasure to have you because you've helped me through, we've done deals together and, we kind of started in the same time, right? I would say. So it's really cool to have you on the show.
I'm excited. Thank you for having me.
No problem. So, for the viewers who don't know of you yet, can you give them a little background of who you are?
So my name is Rosa Vara. I recently got married in November. We had the most beautiful wedding. I think I'm biased. The best wedding. We got married November 26th at La Villita downtown. We went full out. As a little girl, you dream about that. Mm-hmm. But my name is Rosa Vara now. Previously, Rosa Cruz and RosaTheCloser.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The biggest business decision you will ever make is who you marry.
Oof. Yeah, I'm big on that.
Think about that.
Yeah, no, I'm very big on that.
Yeah. So I grew up in San Antonio on the south side of town. Mm-hmm. I am a
Shout out the south side.
Shout out. Palm Heights, Nogalitos, and Zarzamora raised me. So I grew up on that side of town. My single mother, who is now my contractor, she was a nurse previously, raised us. And after high school, I got a full ride to this university called Huntington University. It was a private Christian university in Indiana, a small town north of Fort Wayne. So if anyone knows, or if any investor is watching who is an investor in the Midwest, you know where Fort Wayne is. Mm-hmm. So I went to Huntington University and I majored in history and political science. After I graduated, I did a year of law school.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a law school dropout. Yeah, no one knows that. And then after I dropped out, I ended up going to work for Homeland Security. Mm-hmm. And I ended up working off of a branch of Homeland Security in the logistics department doing FEMA work. Mm. So I worked for FEMA for a little bit, and then I ended up in real estate investing.
What's FEMA? That's like flooding, right?
Federal Emergency Management Agency.
Oh, okay.
So basically, any natural disaster or humanitarian disaster, we are called out by the government to go help and assist and keep logistics of the disaster. So hurricanes, earthquakes, tsunamis, you name it, we're there.
Nice. So how did you get started in real estate?
So my aunt and I had a conversation, who is an investor still in San Antonio. My aunt and I had a conversation about me not wanting to travel any longer. Mm-hmm. Working with FEMA, I traveled all over the U.S., sometimes outside of the U.S. Mm-hmm. And I would spend, I would say, 8 months out of the year in a hotel room. So think about that. I just graduated college. I'm still trying to do the law school thing and still trying to get my master's at the same time. And living in a hotel for 8 months was really rough. At that time, I had saved a little bit of money. And my aunt had suggested, hey, why don't you get into real estate? However, if anyone knows me, knows that I don't like my hand to be held. I'm very independent because I like to learn from my mistakes as well. So I knew if I was going to make a mistake, it's okay to ask questions, but if I was going to do it, I wanted to do it on my own. So my aunt was still doing her Airbnb thing, and I ended up getting on a call with Max Maxwell.
Oh,
I don't know if you know.
Maxwell.
Yeah, Max Maxwell. Shout out. I'm sure that he still remembers me, but I ended up getting a call late December 2017. Yeah, late December, November or December in 2017. And I was just asking him, I was looking into it. My aunt and I had just had dinner, and I asked him, what do you think about me starting off with wholesaling, right? Mind you, we're talking about wholesaling when it wasn't a fad. We're talking about wholesaling when it wasn't very popular. No one knew what it was. Max Maxwell was one of the first ones that started talking about it and really doing it. So I had some money saved up, and he recommended after that call that we had on Instagram Live or Facebook Live. I believe it was Instagram Live, where he said, okay, with that money that you have saved up, that's enough for you to live for a good amount of time, you know, without relying on, you know, FEMA income. So I ended up doing that. I took it to heart. I was just like, okay, well then I should start really doing this. So I reached out to a local investor, worked with him for like about 6 months. Ended up wanting to go a different route. I really did not want to focus on wholesaling because I had already saved up a good amount of money where I was just like, okay, what's next? You know, wholesaling's cool. We still wholesale maybe like 1 or 2 deals a year. You know, if it doesn't work for us, we'll wholesale it. You know, it's like this deal doesn't work for us, but it might work for one of our best friends, JR, you know, so we'll sell it to you.
Right.
But 1 or 2 a year max, maybe. I think last year we only did 1. And we're like, what the heck? But I ended up leaving because they were focused on wholesaling a lot and I wanted to go a different direction. So actually my first deal ever was me purchasing a mobile home park by myself. So I left, and then the following week I purchased a mobile home park on my own.
Nice.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So that was your first deal.
Yeah.
It's kind of a big deal, right? Like your first project being a mobile home park.
Yeah, I was kind of crazy. Now I look back at it, I'm like, maybe now I know where he was coming from. It's not that perhaps it wasn't that he didn't believe in me, which I took it as, you don't believe in me, you want me to stay here, you know. But it's kind of crazy, you know, for someone to come and tell you, hey, what do you think about buying a mobile home park? You know, and I'm going to figure it out on my own, and I'm going to build the connections, and I'm going to find the money for it. Well, a week later, I ended up meeting my first private money lender, and he's the one that lent on that mobile home park. And I ended up buying it. So,
nice.
Yeah.
And that was your first private money lender?
That was my first private money lender. He had, you know, oftentimes people ask me, how do you find your private money? And you don't find your private money, they find you. I call them the Texas good old boys. They'll probably disown me if I say this, but they don't want to be found. They'll find you. So it's like a clique of Texas good old boys that have been doing this for so many years, you know, 50, 60, 70, 80-year-olds, you know.
Really?
It's
like a secret society.
Yeah, basically where you know, they know who you are. I mean, I'm pretty sure they know who you are. If you have social media, you know, social media can be really good or really bad. But in this case, it could be really good because they're watching. I think it would have been much easier for him to find me if I had a lot more social media. But he found me through hearsay. Like, he heard that there was a girl that was in reality selling him a lot of deals. And he asked, like, who is this girl? And they're like, oh, that's Rosa. And actually, the name RosaTheCloser, which my Instagram name is Rosa_the_Closer. Follow me.
No. It's not Rosa the Closer. It's Rosa the Closer.
The Closer. It's so funny that you just said that because he would always tell me the same thing.
That's how I have you saved in my phone, by the way.
Really?
That's
the
how
Closer.
I say it. The Closer.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more sauce on it. You got to sprinkle the sauce.
Exactly. You got to really say it, Closer.
Yeah.
But he found me. He called me and he said, hey, I heard that essentially, because at that point I really didn't know a lot about wholesaling, but I was selling a lot of deals. He's like, I heard that essentially you're the one selling to me. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I have good deals. And he said, and I just heard that you left because you're going to buy a mobile home park. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, do you want to sit down with me? So he bought me lunch a day after, and we sat down, and he told me, you are very different. Tell me a little bit about yourself, just how you asked me. What is your background? Because you cannot possibly be one of those that just woke up one day and said, I want to do real estate for a living. Like, you are well refined and you are a smart girl. I mean, this man thought the world about me. And I said thought because he's in heaven now. But he literally thought that I can move mountains and that I can be the president if I wanted to. So he spoke wonders about me, and he's a man. I still say to this day, he's the man that changed my life, that took a shot on me. You know, he vetted me. that was the first private money that I had to raise money. I presented myself and I told him what my vision was. I gave him the numbers and he said, cool, let's do it. And, you know, we're buying it the next week. So, yeah.
I like that. Well, shout out to him for helping you on this journey.
Yeah.
So shout out to the good old boys.
The Texas good old boys.
So
dun, dun, dun.
Shout out if you're hearing this.
Shout out to the Texas good old boys because we're raising more private money, right, JR?
Mm-hmm. I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
So private money is something I've never done before. I've always used hard money.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
I've always used hard money. Okay. My situation is I have a really good relationship with a lot of hard money lenders, but the owners, not just the...
Yeah, of course.
Right. So they really because we do a lot of deals here, obviously, and we send them a lot of loans. So, you know, we go out to eat and stuff. And so they give me really good rates, better than usual.
Yeah.
And it might be private money because I don't know. I've never seen what private money rates look like, but it's a lot better than traditional hard money. And then they almost give me like unlimited. Like I can buy whatever I want. I don't need appraisals. I don't need surveys. I can close the next day, just clear title.
Oh, wow.
And I have this relationship with a few. So I feel like it's kind of like private money with some big dogs. And then most of the times, obviously, as a wholesaler, I'm finding deals really deep. So I don't have to come most of the times with the...
any money to the table.
Most of the times. So it's a really good relationship. But it's kind of the difference between that and the actual private money, in my opinion, will probably be like you're kind of it's narrowed down on what you can buy, I think, probably. I don't know, because he's actually let me do stuff that he doesn't let for anything else. But like for instance, like say you want to buy an apartment or in a commercial building, it'd probably be a lot easier with private money, right? Because there's less
there's less process to it.
It's just like, is it a good deal? Here's the money, right?
Exactly. Yeah. There's like not a draw system. So I'm opposite. I've never, when people ask me for help or they're like, I'm going to do my first flip. Like, how do you get private, hard money? And I'm like, I've never done hard money in my life. So I don't know the process of hard money or what you have to go through. I'm super blessed. I'm not even worthy. Like so stupid blessed. Like it's awesome. But with private money, it's basically you just shooting them the deal. I have a format in my email. I've even helped them how to lend out more money because I've taught them like, no, this should be a detailed email. This is what I'm going to buy. This is the square footage. This is what I need. Then this is my outline for my repairs. This is a total. This is a predicted total. This is my timeline. Do you approve or not? And these are the comps. You know, at the end of the email, I literally say, please let me know if you want to be a part of this funding opportunity. So on my subject line, I always put funding opportunity. And it makes it sound awesome. It's like, I'm providing you the opportunity to make money.
To make that money work.
And they make me a better business owner. And they make me a better woman in this industry. Because they're like, no. Don't short yourself. You're raising money. And you're telling me that you're going to give me a return. You're not getting this money for free. You're guaranteeing me a return. So take pride in that. Like, don't just say, oh, you know, like, I borrowed this money. No, like you went to the extent of really knowing your numbers and asking for us to give you the opportunity to make even more money. I mean, I made my private money a lot of money.
And so for people that have never raised private money like myself, right? How do you go about that? So it's kind of just basically like, you know, somebody that has money, you present a deal and then they put a first lien on it.
Correct.
And, you know, you set up a note, right? Of how much you're going to, you know, pay them interest, when you pay it.
Correct.
And points, et cetera, right?
Correct.
So, and then like the term of the loan, et cetera.
Correct.
Does that pretty much sum it up?
Yeah, that sums it up. So, you create the deed and the note, and they let you know what your payment's going to be. See, private money and maybe the relationship that you have built with your hard money might be similar because sometimes you get private money at 8% to 10%. And then at this point that I've built a relationship, I get 1%. So
1%?
1%.
That's almost free. Is that a point or is that interest?
That's a point.
Oh, it's a point. Okay,
yeah.
I got you.
So if people don't know, you get charged a percentage and points. So
yeah. I was like 1%. Yeah. That's free money.
No, like 1.2 points.
So if you're watching this, a point is basically an upfront fee of what they're charging.
Of
so like
total loan.
Basically, if you want to borrow $100,000, 1 point is $1,000 upfront. That's your upfront fee.
Exactly.
So if you don't know that. And then plus you still have to pay interest monthly of whatever you negotiate.
I just had a talk with someone today. That doesn't go towards the principal. It's just interest-only payments.
Right.
So that's why I respect people that do hard money, especially in this market right now. I respect them because how are you even pulling those deals off? Like, because if you're borrowing really high,
I
agree. Like,
it takes a lot of equity.
Yeah, it takes a lot of equity, and you're paying interest-only payments.
Yeah.
Like, you're not even paying toward. So when you close out your loan and interest alone, if you take 6 months, let's just say they did charge you, it's 10%. It's $6,000. You know that
plus points.
Plus, that's a lot.
Yeah, every deal automatically if you're using hard money. I mean, if it depends what city you're in. We're in San Antonio, where most of our deals we're probably all in 150, maybe 200 tops.
Exactly.
And that's more rare. But you're probably like right off the bat, 8 to 10 grand out of equity to the lender.
Yeah.
So I see that too, and I use lenders, all the time, hard money. So, but you calculate it into your offer.
Yeah.
You calculate it into your offer. So if you're using hard money and you're investing, make sure that you include holding costs, because holding costs is a big expense.
Yeah.
Bars. So let's see here. This is what I'm really interested in. Okay. Because being a woman in the space has to be different than being a man in the space, right?
Exactly.
Or I want to know if it is true. So what are some advantages of being a woman in, this space?
I used to get really upset because when I walked into a room, they automatically thought that I was a realtor. Like, hey, are you a realtor? I don't even have my license, actually. So I get so much business. We'll go into that at the end of the podcast. Fired. I'm not even a realtor, right? But when I walk into a room, dressed the way that I'm dressed, are you a realtor? I'm like, no, I'm not a realtor. I'm an investor. I'm actually here to buy this thing. I'm actually here to call the shots. I'm actually here to pay you money.
Flex on them.
Yeah, like I'm here to pay you money. I'm not here representing anyone. I'm representing myself.
Right.
But to my advantage is that they don't assume that a woman, well, there's not a lot of women, right, in the investing world. They don't assume a woman can play that investor role. So that's to my advantage. I used to get upset, but now I'm like, it's to my advantage. I can walk into any space and really just sit back, and I don't have to be loud. I think people have this misconstrued thought of like, you have to be loud in order to be heard. You don't have to be loud to be heard. You just have to let your actions speak for you.
Right.
So now even we went to actually one of your houses. I bought a house from Clutch. So we went to one of your houses and I wasn't loud. I just walked in and walked out and I said I wanted it. And then no one had to know. I mean, someone asked me when I got there, out of these 15 investors, are you a realtor? Are you representing someone? I'm like, no, I'm not in the phone with someone representing them. I'm going to buy this, So you don't have to be loud. You can just be graceful. And that's to my advantage. I don't get upset.
They're sleeping on you.
Yeah, they're just sleeping on me. Yeah. And it's fine. Like, sleep on me all you want. All you want.
So guys, if you like, so just to paint a picture for you, we wholesale a lot of houses here at Clutch. That we're in a real estate investing firm, a wholesale company, whatever you want to call it. And so what happens is we sent a good deal out in Rosa's favorite part of town.
Palm Heights.
Shout out Southside. And it's a really good neighborhood, actually. The comps are very good. They sell fast. And she's saying we had about 15 investors out there. And out of them, how many were women?
1.
Just you?
No. 2. Well,
oh,
other
you
than
plus
me.
Another
yeah,
woman.
Exactly.
Okay, so there was 2 women out of 15 investors. And so basically what we do is we send the house out to our investors. We had 15 people, 2 were girls, and this was a really good deal. And so the first person to bring us the deposit and sign an assignment gets it or whatever. So she walks in and they're like, so are you a realtor? Where's your investor at? Yeah. And she's like, okay, whatever. And then, so you work with Dave here at the office. Shout out Dispo Dave. So she walks in, she, one thing I remember you told me was like, if you told me your mentor had told you.
So my private money, the man who taught me how to flip, the one that taught me how to invest, taught me that if you don't walk a house within 2 to 3 minutes and know what your investment, what you have to invest in it to bring bring it back up to what it should be after repair value, then you're doing it wrong. So like you need to walk in 2 minutes because people still live in it. You have to be respectful of their space and their time. You cannot be there like, you know, like
going in the attic.
Like who has time for that?
Right.
If you're a real investor, go in, go out. You know what you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Like you're looking for the 5 big things, right? The foundation, the plumbing, the electrical, the roof, and the HVAC. But if you notice, right, David probably has noticed this. As soon as I get off my car, I know who a real investor is. Let me tell you how. When you get off your car, my private money taught me this because he used to walk houses with me when he initially started providing, you know, funds. You look at the water meter. So you open the water. All these investors are like standing right there like, oh, let me look at the roof. No, look at the water meter. Open the water meter, right? And if you see that little red triangle spinning and there's no water open inside, what does that tell you?
There's a leak.
There's a leak.
Yeah.
So why are you like, and plumbing's expensive. Plumbing and electrical is expensive. So what do you think that I would be okay with buying a house? Maybe sometimes I do if it's a great deal, but maybe I would be a little bit more hesitant if I knew there was a leak. So the first thing I check for, it's like, but you know who you see checking the water meter? Who? The Texas Good Old Boys.
The Texas Good Old Boys.
Yeah.
Shout out again.
Like if I run into them, because they show up or they send people, you know, you'll never know who those people are, but they send people. I will know after this. Yeah. You can literally see who it is because you can see that the water meter cap has been pulled off. So I'm like, dang it, one of them has been here because they like automatically pulled it off. So you see everyone else standing there like wanting to go into the house. No, I'm going to get off my car before even talking to your dispositions guy. I'm going to go look at the water meter and look at it. Then I'm going to go in. If I see the little triangle spinning, I'm going to go inside and politely ask the owner or whoever's inside, is there any water on? You know, because sometimes maybe someone just flushed the toilet, you know, and the water's filling up. So yeah, that's my first thing. I look at the water meter. I walk in, I walk out. No more. You can ask David, probably no more than 2 minutes does it take me to really say if I want a house or not. If you cannot say it in 2-3 minutes, then what are you doing? You know?
Dang, she's dropping nuggets for you guys. So I'm the same way. I know if I'm gonna buy a house real quick, I'm in and out. And you should be like that because you know what that means. You know what you're doing, and you're confident in it. You can't go into the deal scared. No, you're gonna lose money if you go into the deal scared. You gotta be confident, and you gotta know what you're doing. So,
and you have to own it. You know, people ask me, how do I get mentored by you? Like, I don't charge for mentorship. It's like, come to a house. I want to see how you walk the house. You know, I want to see how confident. I want to know if you're full of ish. You know, I want to know if you're full of ish. Like, are you confident in walking this house? If I taught you how to do something, are you gonna forego with it? Right. You know, are you going to, or are you gonna walk it out and really learn from it? You know, so
right. Yeah. So those are some good tips. So like getting into that, that's also something that I have a question about.
Oh, yikes.
So you know, it really interests me as a woman and being in real estate because I know there's some differences, right? Because like for instance, like what are some challenges in like dealing with contractors as a woman?
So initially, I had to find my own contractors, right? And we'll go into that.
Like, did they ever try to take advantage of you or overcharge you? That's what I would imagine.
So I just got married, right? I was doing this full-time flipping on my own for about 3.5 years until I met Jacob. So 3.5 years, let's call it 3 years to be safe. So 3 years on my own, just like flipping on my own. And I used to remember, man, if I had a guy with me here, it would be easier. Right. And I was like, you know what, Rosa, don't make that excuse. Like, because you can easily call your dad or your grandpa or your uncle to be here. Learn how to talk to them and learn how to demand respect. Like, teach them that you know what you're talking about. Right. So what I did was I went to Home Depot and I just made friends with everyone. Like, and I would just ask a lot of questions and I would get different opinions. So by the time that the contractors would come, then I knew what I was talking about. And they would be like, oh, I'll charge you $3.50 a square foot. Right. Dang. Right. And I would be like,
For some flooring?
Yeah. I'd be like, no, we're not doing that. Yeah, you know that because you're a flipper. Yeah. You're an investor, so you know what I'm talking about. So I would be like, no, I think that we can get this done for $1.50. Like, and they're like, fine, I'll do it. Yeah. But I would always, I learned how to negotiate a lot better. Through the process of it's okay to rebuttal. It's okay. What's the worst that they can say? No.
Right.
It's okay to ask for references as well. I hear horror stories like of contractors. Thank God that has not happened to us. But I do hear these horror stories of, the contractor asked me for X amount of money up front and they took off with that. I was never that naive to, hand someone money and then run with it. I was like, no. Let's do this on a draw system. Yes. I'll give you 20% or so on. And if you need to charge anything with Home Depot, you just have Home Depot call me. Home Depot and I are best friends. They just call me all the time. Now they have that texting thing. Well, they've had it for a while, but it just doesn't work for me. I'm like, I don't want to approve a buy through a text. I'd rather hear it on the phone. And I'll always ask them, okay, what am I buying? Because to me, it's the principle, right? If I hire you to be my contractor and you're going to go get materials, to me, it's the principle. Yeah, you can maybe buy a soda, but if you're buying a soda and candy and like having your whole lunch, when I pay you a good paying salary, don't take advantage of me.
Yeah, or your tools and stuff like that.
Like why are you buying extra? Yeah, why are you buying extra tools when it's a part of your cost? You used to own a contracting business, right? So like a part of that, I learned to speak up and say, well, wait a minute. Am I not being charged for using your generator, right? Because a real contractor will charge you for every little single thing. So why am I buying your tools for you to work when you should have them? Right. So I think, it was difficult, but as a woman in the industry, you really have to set your boundaries and really have to demand respect. When you're a woman, you have to educate yourself if you don't want to be a joke. Because you're already when you walk into a room, people are already doubting you. My best advice to a woman that wants to get into investing into any business reality is educate yourself.
For men as well. Yeah. Like if you're a rookie.
You think?
Yeah, for sure. Because I don't think it's Well, being a woman, naturally, they don't think you know what you're talking about because it's construction. Exactly. Right? Exactly. But you can get the same vibe from a rookie. Even if it's a male, but he looks like he just doesn't know what he's doing, they're going to give him the same treatment. So I think it's more like just knowing your stuff. Yeah. And being confident. And like, hey, look, I know this goes for $1 a foot. Yeah. Don't mess. I know how much a square is on a roof. Exactly. I know how much a post is when I'm fixing my foundation, how much I try to propose. Like, you know what I mean? So educating yourself on that. Exactly. Right? So... Because I'm saying, even a rookie, like if you don't know what you're talking about, they're gonna double, triple charge you.
Easy. Yeah, easy. Yeah, so. They try to find what they try to call your bluff. You know, and you don't. It's kind of like an elevator speech. You know how in school they say you have to have like an elevator speech, like a 1-minute elevator speech. Right. So within the first 1 minute of me being in the room with this contractor or with another male figure in the industry, whether that be private money or another investor, I need to have my 1-minute elevator speech solid of like, this is who I am. This is what I do.
What's your 1-minute speech?
What's my 1-minute speech? Well, it depends who I'm talking to, but my 1-minute speech to private money. Yeah. My 1-minute speech is, I usually just like run into them at events. I just went to a Pace Morby event and I ran into... I knew he was private money because whenever I walk into a room, any room that I'm going to be in, I already did my research on you. Because I'm going to go to an event with the purpose to meet the connects that I need to meet. I don't go to an event without a purpose. I know, like, if I didn't know you, and I'm like, okay, who is JR? What does he do? What volume does he do? What does he put out there? I would have looked at all your podcasts and I would have been like, okay, I would have asked about you to my really good friends. So I already knew about this person and I knew this person was going to be there because my husband and I, for the last month and a half, we've been focusing on raising additional private money. Our private money has been amazing, but I want to build a lot more relationships because you never know what can happen. Some private money don't like lending money on notes. Some private money only likes lending money on flips. Some private money only likes lending on rentals. When they ask you for your exit strategy, you have to know. So my 1 minute speech is like, hey, my name's Rosa. I do investing. Not sure if you heard about me. However, I do invest in the city. I often provide returns to private money lenders at a 10%, 12% with 2 points, 3 points in the front end at closing. If you're ever interested in being a private money lender and getting a high return on your investment, let me know. And it's secured by real estate. So you really have nothing to lose. But that's where the girl thing comes into hand, because my husband always says, you make it seem like it's very difficult for girls to be in the investment world, but it's not, because you can use that to your advantage. He's all, stop living in that mentality and live in the mentality to your advantage. He's all, because I can't pull off that speech like you do, because the private money sees you walking towards them. They're like, ooh, there's a pretty girl, you know? But then as soon as the pretty girl starts talking and she's dropping gems and you can notice that she knows what she's talking about and she's well refined, then they're like, okay, let me. So the outside does an introduction. And then when I start talking, it closes the deal.
More approachable.
More approachable. With the man, their ego, men's ego, I mean, ever since humanity was created, men's ego is different. If you go and approach a man, you're like, oh man, you know, they might mess with your ego. And they're like, they're more standoffish. They're like, oh, what do you want? Yeah. So I just use it to my advantage. My 1 minute speech is very like, it's funny because they pick on me. My private money picks on me now. Because they're like, man, you're like, you act like you're very naive. But then as soon as you start talking, you have it down to the T of what you want and what you can provide. So I just tell you automatically what I want and what I can provide. And it's your decision if you want it or not. But I use it to my advantage.
Yeah. So I agree with all that. So like I could see the advantage you would have there. It's just a lot more easily, like a man would open up a lot more easily to a woman. I mean, it's just, that's just nature.
Yeah, they come from a woman. They have a mom. They love their mom.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've never tried to actually raise private money. So I've never approached anybody.
We should raise some together.
I would be down.
We'll go to a room and I'll do the introduction and I'll show you how it's done. I
can show them all my HUDs we do every month. These are all the opportunities we can use on your, you know what I mean?
Boom. Yeah. And that's all you really need, right? Initially, I was just super blessed. And, you know, I'm a rare opportunity that this man was seeing what I was doing, right? But now when I approach new private money, they're like, send me your schedule of real estate. Okay, right away. Here's my schedule of real estate. They're like, oh, you know what you're doing. And as soon as they see my email come in, very formatted of what I want, what the product is, what the house is, then they're like, oh, okay, you know what you're talking about. Approve. Let me know when we need to close, you know. So before, it would have not been easy. But now, you can always send them their HUDs or your schedule of real estate, and they'll be like, okay, you know.
Yeah, just to show that you do business. You're not a BS.
Exactly.
All right, so we've gone over a few things already, a few interesting topics, and some questions I personally had. So like right now, you know, you're in real estate investing, but real estate investing is so broad. You can do so many things. What is your favorite? My
favorite is owner finance, and I actually learned about owner finance in DFW area, in the Dallas areas, from my Dallas friends. All my Dallas friends were doing owner finance a couple of years ago when it wasn't a fad. Right now, I feel like a lot of people are talking owner finance. So what we do is we purchase a home, we remodel it, and then we start finding a person that does not qualify traditionally with the bank, and we finance the house out to them. You know, providing the American dream. You know, these people that we market to are usually from another, you know, nation, and they cannot qualify traditionally because of their credit, or they don't have credit, you know, or sometimes they don't even have an ID, and sometimes they have to ask a family member just so that we can follow guidelines. So that is my niche. I want to provide an opportunity for people to own a home.
Okay. And so you say like you specialize in the in people that are like not U.S. citizens.
Yeah, basically.
Pretty much.
So
and
most of my family members purchased a house dueño, which is owner finance. Because when they got to the States, they didn't have any credentials, basically, and that's how, or any credit.
Right, and that's good because in our city, there's a lot of people that I'm sure need that.
Yeah, we're so close to the border, and people just assume that just because you're a national, you don't necessarily have the funds to purchase a home. Which, if you're in RC, from experience, they're the ones that have the funds. Right. They're the ones that have worked so hard for so many years to save every penny to provide their kids the American dream.
And what does that process look like? So, like, if what are some things that disqualify them from an actual loan with a bank?
One, you have to have credit with the bank. And basically that's
credit with a bank or just like credit in general, like
credit in general,
like
basically.
A credit score?
Yeah, a good credit score.
So they don't have credit.
No, they don't have credit.
Because they're not even citizens.
No, they're not even citizens.
Okay.
Which you can build credit if you're not a citizen, but it takes a while. So, and you're not even. Most people, I mean, including my parents, weren't educated enough to know how to build credit. I mean, now in this generation, people don't know how to build credit. You go to a high school and they don't even teach you how to build credit. They don't even teach you about buying your first home or anything like that. So people that are native to San Antonio, they're just like, how do I even do that? So yeah, that's our niche. People that don't qualify traditionally with the bank. Usually it's someone that's not from the US that wants the opportunity to own a home. So our qualification process is, do you have a down payment and can you prove that you can make the monthly payment? And I personally, part of my application process, which laws have changed, you have to go through an RMLO now just to make sure, because there were some investors that weren't doing it the right way. So now you have to hire an RMLO and go through the whole process. But part of my application process, part of us being the bank, is me really vetting the family. I always want someone. I'm the bank. I get to pick who I want in these homes. I get to pick who I want to lend money to essentially own the home. So I want you to have responsibilities. I want you to have kids. I want you to be passionate. I want you to be ethical. So I personally meet with them. Last night I was just meeting with the family at one of the houses we're owner financing. They called my phone number. They're like, hola, estamos mirando que está vendiendo una casa y está dueño a dueño. Meaning we saw that you're selling a house and you're selling it owner to owner. Like, yes, let's walk it. And let's see if this is something that you can afford. This is something that you can comfortably afford. And I'll ask those questions. And one of my main questions is like, oh, do you have any kids? Do you have any family? Because someone that has kids, I mean, I even saw it from my mom. She made it happen, because of her kids. She wanted to keep her kids in a certain school district. Hence Palm Heights, like we have Burbank. Really good schools. Shout out Burbank. So she wanted to keep her kids in a good school district, probably not one of the best, in this, but a really good that was safe. So I always meet with these buyers and I ask, do you have kids? What do you do for a living? To me, that's important because sometimes I could take down the qualifications of like, maybe you don't have this one document that might disqualify you at a bank, but I feel that it's very necessary to educate them at the same time. I'm passionate about owner finance because I get to educate someone on how to properly own a home. I tell them, hey, once you qualify with the bank, by all means, please, I will show you how to go ask for a loan. I will show you how to refinance me out, basically to pay me back. And then you get a lower interest. That's my dream for you. And the conversation I was having with this man yesterday, he's like, my kid just turned 18. And I said, oh, why? What's the reason why he hasn't gone to a bank and asked for a loan? Because he's a U.S. citizen, and he does his taxes every year. He's been working since he's 16. What's the reason? I think that he can qualify. But that's the way we do it. I want to help people. I'm in this business to change my family's life. And it has changed my family's life. I mean, my mom's my contractor now. She's amazing. My siblings are into it. Everyone in my family or anyone that I have come in contact with has benefited from real estate. So I want them, whoever walks into one of our properties and we become the bank, I want them to benefit from it. I want them to essentially own the home free and clear. Obviously, I want to make an interest on it because our interests are 10%, which really before it differentiated from a bank because a bank was giving a traditional buyer like 4%, 3%. But now we're not that far off from a bank because our interest rate is 10% and their interest rates are 7, 8. And it's just like, whoa, like people are predicting. I mean, that's not me. I hear like the experts are predicting. I'm not an expert anymore. The experts are predicting that it's going to go up to 9%. Whether that's true or not, we're not going to be very different from those banks.
Right.
So now we're not even the bad guys. Usually people are like, you hire, like 2 years ago when
the rates were 3%.
Like, you're taking advantage of people. And it's like, have you ever really looked at an amortization schedule? I used to get really upset to how I was talking about realtors. I used to get really upset when like, that's a high interest. I'm like, oh, you probably don't own a home. Have you checked an amortization schedule and noticed that for the first 5-10 years, all that interest is going to the bank anyways? You're not even paying towards the principal. So that doesn't make me any different from a bank. I am allowing for an opportunity for someone to reach the American dream, just as my family did. I am thankful for that investor to provide a home for my family. And yeah, they paid it off and they made their interest, but now I'm in this share where I get it. Cash flow for each house that we have, average, we make about 270, let's just call it 250, 300, right?
That's on a note?
Yeah, on a note. Okay. Yeah. When the interest rates were amazing on a note, we were making our highest cash flowing notes, those $600, $700. But we were smart. At that time, we were just refinancing. I wish we could have refinanced a lot more because our interest rate would be so low, and then we can owner finance it at 10%. But that's just too much. That's like we're going on that's like good. You really have to know what you're doing to be an owner finance investor. Follow your regulations, especially in Texas. You can get in a lot of trouble. Because of the people that weren't being ethical, they screwed it up for all of us. So now we have to be really well refined and know what the law is. But then at the same time, making sure you're servicing the note and creating the note properly. So yeah, I love owner finance. It's a lot of work. It is a lot of work if you do it the right way, but it's worth it to be able to provide that opportunity to a family. And that's what I'm passionate about. Out of all my business, I can flip. Flipping, to me, it's like very repetitive, especially last year and the previous year, everyone was doing the same thing, buying, flipping, using the gray, using the black, using the white. And, you just buy low, sell high. It doesn't take a genius, right? But with notes, it's just you have to be really creative. You have to calculate, what do I buy it for? What can I refinance it for? What can my lender lend me on this house? Say my lender lends me at a 5%. What about if my lender say, you know what, I want to lend you at 8%. So now I'm just making a 2% difference. And can I afford to only make a 2% difference?
Right. Yeah. And guys, if you don't understand that, basically when you create a note, you're making money off the spread of the interest pretty much, and the equity as well.
Basically.
So what she's saying was she was making $600 to $700 on a note because the interest was lower. So for instance, if you got your loan at 3% or 4%, 5%, and then you create a note and sell that same piece of paper to somebody else at 10%, well, it's not the same piece of paper, but you create a new note at 10%, you're making a 5% difference.
Exactly.
Right?
You got it.
Right. So, but now the interest rates went up to 7 to 8%, right? Exactly. And so now you're only making 2%. So that's why her cash flow every month on a note went from 600 to 300, it cut in half. Right. So that's basically what owner finance is. So you're basically selling a house at a certain interest rate, and then you're borrowing money at a lesser interest rate, and you're making the money in the middle. So
and taxes went up too. I'm very transparent with my owner finance buyer, my dueño buyers. Like, look, I'm not hiding anything from you. Actually, I have to disclose to you. at closing.
Is that kind of scary? Because like if you're making like 200 and then the taxes go up and they keep going up, but you're locked in and the rates keep going up.
So if taxes go up, it's their house. So we adjust. So
so you adjust. Oh, okay, got it. So you don't worry about that.
No, but I'm transparent with them.
Okay,
like,
so
hey,
when you lock that in, then that's for sure.
That's
like
10%.
Because like whatever cash flow you got, that's not changing.
Correct.
Because interest is there. It's their house. So just like your mortgage, guys, if you have a mortgage and taxes go up, your mortgage goes up, right? So it's PITI, right? So
exactly, yeah. So we're locked in. If I'm making 10% on something, then just because taxes go up doesn't mean that you own the house.
Okay, gotcha.
JR owns the house just like a mortgage. You nailed it.
Gotcha.
If taxes go up, the bank is going to notify you,
right.
Hey, your escrow account is over, or hey, your escrow account's in negative, so you owe me $300 difference.
That's what's happening right now. I'm like, damn. And for me, I mean, whatever. But can you imagine, like, it is like that's a big thing for most Americans. I mean, most Americans don't have an extra just $300.
No.
You know what I mean? So that could put people in some really bad spots.
Exactly.
Right. So
we are, because now we see foreclosures happening a lot more. I mean, I used to log in to the website, right, and be like, let me see how many foreclosures there is, and now it's like 3 pages. I'm like, oh my gosh,
gotta go through all
last year it was only like 6 of them filed, or maybe 2 of them filed a day, and I'm like, now it's like 30 one day slap. I'm like, wow, it's coming back. They're calling the notes, and you have to think about it. Banks were lending money. I mean, most of the notes that are being foreclosed on now, these loans were given in 19 and in 20. So they don't have a lot of equity. They're having to come to the closing table with money. So banks know what they're doing. They've always known what they're doing.
Right.
They lend out money and they essentially want the house back. They essentially want the note back.
Right.
Because if they lent it out at 2%, why wouldn't I want my house back? So that I can lend it out at 8%, because that's what rates are going to go to, or supposedly, right? We cannot say for sure.
And then you always got to pay taxes.
Oh yeah.
Somebody told me one time, they're like, you don't ever really own your home. No. They're like, don't pay your taxes a few years. Let's see who owns it. I was like, damn, that's true. And the amount that the taxes are nowadays is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, damn,
but you know what? Although we don't ever really own our home, we're super blessed, because in other countries, right? I've heard, right, and I don't know if it's for certain, Google it, right? Google everything. So the land is lease. So you only owe like your personal, here in the US, right? Like when you own a mobile home, it has to be strapped down to be real property instead of personal property.
Right.
So over there, like kind of like in London, right? You have the family, right? And they own all the land. The royal family owns all the land, but people only own their personal property, which is the house.
The structure.
Yeah.
They don't own the land?
No.
Really?
I just found that out.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, I was looking at
so
a
are they all
documentary.
mobile homes or what?
No, they're all houses, but they never own the land. The royal family owns the land.
That's wild.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So yeah, okay, cool. We don't, we pay taxes on our land, but it's not as bad as that. Like, imagine the president owning the land.
Yeah.
But in the U.S., we're so stinking spoiled, right? Where, we get to own the land if you pay your taxes, right? And you get to own your house. But yeah, like in London, I was watching a documentary. Obviously, go do your research. But in London, they say that the royal family leases the land, and that it's on like, I don't know what they call it over there, but it's on like the deed that the land is leased. Super crazy. Yeah, I don't know why I said that, but look into it though.
I'm going to have to look into that. It's crazy. Guys, if y'all are getting some value out of this, make sure you subscribe, you leave some comments, and you share with all your friends so we can continue to spread this message on real estate investing and to help everybody that we can, okay? I hope you're getting some value from this. Another question I got is, if you are just starting in the business,
okay,
you're an aspiring lady real estate investor, realtor, whatever, you're just trying to get in the business, what are some tips, some advice you would give her?
My advice would be grind and thrive in your purpose.
Grind and thrive.
Yeah,
Bars.
Grind and thrive in your purpose.
Okay.
And stay in your lane. I'm not saying like don't aspire to be more. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is grind and thrive in your God-given purpose. Like, stay in your lane and educate yourself. So if you're trying to be a realtor, right? If you're going to get your license, okay, well, educate yourself. What does it take to be a successful realtor, right? If you're trying to be an investor, what does it take to be a successful investor? And educate yourself on that. You know, if I was doing it again, I would probably reach out to, I didn't know anyone back then, but I would probably reach out to another investor. It doesn't have to be a lady. It could be a man, right? And really ask them, like, you know, like, what tips would you give, or how would you go? It's not very, I just had a young lady ask me, I'm teaching her, actually. I'm taking her through the process of flipping for her first home, which you shouldn't be flipping right now or doing any type of real estate if you don't know what you're doing, because the market is crazy. That's what I'm telling everyone. But grind and thrive in your purpose, I told her, but take action. Like, I told her, this is what you do, you know, because I don't have all the time in the world, but I told her, this is what you do. You know, if you have money in the drive, this is your next step. Or if you don't have money, go ask for a private money loan or a hard money loan. And she did it all at once, like within 20, 30 minutes, she did everything I asked her to do. So just take action, grind and thrive in your purpose, and take action, and seek out to others, but don't waste their time, honor their time. Like, I appreciated the fact that she asked me, can you teach me? And can you give me pointers of what would you do? And she followed them. And she's like, okay, what's next? You know, you don't go up to someone and be like, hey, JR, how do you create a successful podcast? And then, you know, you tell me, well, get this, and that. And then I don't listen to you. I just go on about my day and expect for Jesus to just bring it all to me. No, like, you take action. Like, if you were to tell me, this is the equipment you need, these are my pointers, then I would follow them. So my advice would be, reach out to someone, honor their time, and bring value to them. You know, that's the most important. I just like when people slide in my DMs and they're like, can you teach me owner finance?
Oh my God.
No. Slide into my DMs and say, hey, I potentially have an owner finance deal. Can you walk me through it?
That's how you got to do it.
You know, so, yeah, I would say grind and thrive in your purpose, whatever that might be. It doesn't even have to be real estate related. Yeah. It could be you're creating a product, but grind and thrive in your purpose and be passionate about it.
Yeah. And that's a great point, guys. If you're watching this, don't go into somebody that, you know, you want to you want to interact with that's doing deals and just say, like, hey, can you tell me how to do this, or give me some advice? Like, they get that all the time. You want to lead with values. So, like, go find something. If you know they're an investor, go find them a deal and then introduce yourself that way. It'll take you a lot farther, I promise. I want to talk about a little bit about your personal self. And you think maybe some things
Let's do it.
maybe no, and it's more like maybe some things that you think that you do, routines, habits that help you become more successful. Do you have any special things like that?
Honestly, I would like to believe we could ask Jesus one day when we get to heaven what my routine is, but I do a lot of meditation and praise and worship in the morning and at night. I have a verse that I am learning this year. It's Psalm 23. If you're a believer, you can go read it. But I don't know. I was having this conversation I actually invested in a really good friend of mine who is my pastor. And he asked me some questions about real estate investing, you know. And within the last 2 years that we've been mentoring, he closed on 2 multifamily deals. So, but I told him, you know, he asked me, what's the most important thing, or what does your routine look like to get to where you're at? And I said, honestly, you have to have a lot of faith and you have to have a lot of courage. Like, I don't know how people do it and they don't have an outlet. Like, you have to have an outlet. And my outlet is having a relationship with Jesus, like Christ, like literally having a relationship, waking up every morning and knowing, I know I've been called to do this, so I'm going to do it. But please put the right people in my path, and please close every door that needs to be closed and open every door that needs to be open. And I will courageously, with the courage that you provide me, I will courageously walk through that door. You know, it's not easy when, you know, being a woman, it's not easy walking into a room full of, I'll always remember this day. I was buying a mobile home park, and I walked into a room and all the partners were white males, like white 60, 50-year-old males.
Mm-hmm.
And my private money sent me into that room, and I asked him, like, are you sure? Like, you're going to lock in this deal better than I can.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, no, Rosa, like, as soon as your courage is bigger than your fear, like, walk into that room courageously. And I have that courage because every morning, and we locked up the deal, but I have that courage because every morning I wake up and I spend time with Jesus, and I write down on my journal, you know, like, what is your purpose for me? Please give me the courage. I am okay. Whatever is for me will always be for me. Whatever is not for me, it will never be for me. Therefore, you can never take away anything that God has called me to, and you can never like give me something that God doesn't want to give me. Like that. And so for you too, like, whatever is for you will always be for you. No one can tame you. No one can stop you. Whatever is for you will always be for you. If God has big things in store for you, it will happen. No one can stop it. So knowing that my routine is waking up, praying, doing praise and worship. I love praising and worshiping. So my major was history and political science. I love writing. I write on my journal. I set expectations. I set goals. And I also set questions like, what do I want to be when I grow up? I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. And people get freaked out. They're like, I thought you wanted to be an investor for the rest of your life. And I'm like, no, really? Like, that's your goal? You want to be an investor for the rest of your life? Like, there has to be more to that. Like, my goal is, to be honest, like, I want to be a stay-at-home mom, and I want to invest in my kids. My mom couldn't make it to any of my softball and volleyball games.
Shout out to all the stay-at-home moms.
Right.
To me, that's a very like, people like it's almost like people like look down on that.
Yeah.
And I hate that. It's like the capitalism ruined it. Like, where now, like, if you're not a, you know, super hardworking woman,
bustler.
Yeah, competing with the men. Like, shout out to her. If you're a stay-at-home mom, I respect
dun,
that.
Dun, dun.
Yeah, I respect
we need that noise for the moms, the stay-at-home mom. They work so hard, you know.
Yeah, it's a tough job.
That's a job.
That's a lot, raising kids.
Yeah, but I want the opportunity to be able to do that. Yeah. You know, like, I want the opportunity to be a stay-at-home mom, and really, at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Yeah, I got into this game with a goal, and it was like enough cash flow to not worry about anything, to have freedom.
Buy your time back.
Buy my time back.
Right.
And it does. Like, I go to my nieces and my nephews' basketball games and volleyball games, and it's soccer games. And that, I'm buying my time back. But they see that Thea is out there hustling and working, and they see it. They want to be little entrepreneurs themselves too, because they see the freedom that I get. They're like, can we rake the leaves at the houses? Can we cut the yard? And I'm like, yeah, you can. And they're like, we want to be just like you when we grow up. I'm like, no, you're going to be better than me. You're going to, you know, we've owned 2 buildings. We own currently 1, but it's like, you're going to own more than just 1, 2, 3, 4, a couple of buildings. You're going to own more than me. I want you to be better than me. So yeah, my routine is just journaling with God, spending time with God. To me, it's very important for my sanity. Like, I always tell Jacob, it's like, now I get why people have an outlet. I mean, you hear of these famous people that get into drugs and get into bad things, and it's because that's their outlet. Like, it's a very, I get it. You know, I get it why there's not a lot more women investors. Because it is really, really difficult to manage the responsibility and the stress, because there is stress. I don't care what anyone says. Yeah, there is a stressor, because you have to, one, you know, you have to compete, and you have to deliver, and you have to take care of a family as well. So not only are you an investor, but you're a mom, you're a sister, you're a daughter. So I get it. Like, I get why there's not a lot more women in the industry. Because it is difficult.
Yeah, the entrepreneurship and competing in the marketplace is brutal. I tell people, like, it looks, I mean, yeah, you see this, you see the cool podcasts, the clips, the reels, you see all that, but you don't see how tired I'm at the end of the day. Like, from when I wake up, I tell people, from when I wake up, I'm working. And it might not be on the business, but it's on myself. I got routines. I got things that I do every morning. come to work, and then I really get to it. I was just sparring. I was working on my house, boxing before I got here. I might be a little red in the face. And then I came straight to here to do. I haven't even ate today.
Wow.
You know, it's already 5 o'clock.
A cup of coffee.
Yeah.
A cup of coffee will get me going.
Exactly.
My husband and I only eat once a day.
Yeah.
But it's fine. You know, people say like, you're supposed to eat 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Well, I believe, right, whatever everyone else believes, but we believe that God designed us beautifully. And it's not that I'm starving myself. It's like, I'm going to eat when I'm hungry.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not going to overeat. I am 95 pounds less than I weighed 2.5 years ago.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Yeah. So awesome. That goes to entrepreneurship as well. I saw that my business was not going to go to the next level if I didn't work on myself.
Right.
You know, if I didn't lose the extra weight. And, you know, we're still working on ourselves daily. I'm still working on myself daily. Right. But I knew that I wanted to go to the next level, and the way for me to go is to take care of myself first. So.
And there's levels to it. Like, you don't got to be like me. I feel like I'm maniacal about it. I don't even know that's a word.
We made it a word.
Yeah, but I go crazy. Like to me, it's every day I want the full potential of the day.
Ooh.
I swear, so after this, me and Albert are gonna do some more stuff. And then after this, I'm gonna go exercise some more. And then I got night rituals, what I do every day. Oh. But people don't see that. And as soon as I get home and I hit my head on that pillow, I'm out.
Yeah.
I expended all my energy. And that's the part that y'all don't see.
Do you wake up? At what time do you wake up? Obviously, you wake up.
It depends. I try to wake up early as I can.
Okay.
Because I have a little morning routine, so I try to wake up at 6 a.m.
Okay.
But sometimes I oversleep. But most of the time I try. That's my little routine.
See, I'm
different.
Today
I woke up at like 7:30. That's late.
Okay, that's reasonable. So, see, I'm different. People. Part of my thing, right? I say grind and thrive in your purpose, and everyone has a different season. But part of that is like, you and I are different, right? And there's not one right single way to do it.
Right.
You know, my normal wake up time is 8 a.m.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I tell people that.
But I'm buying my time back. Right. I know that I can buy my time back. Why do I wake up at 8 a.m.? Well, because my title company opens at 8:30. I work from the time that my title company opens, because we're working on files, to the time that they close, and a little bit after, so that I can walk property. So I start working from 8 a.m., probably before, if my contractors are at Home Depot making an order, to like 12 a.m., 1 a.m. And that's fine, because if I go to sleep at 12 a.m. or 1 a.m., it's okay, because I get enough sleep. I get 7 hours of sleep.
Yeah, and you set your own schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only reason I wake up as early as that is just because I like to do things before I come into the office. Yeah. Right? So every morning we have a 9 a.m. meeting. I try to get here a little bit earlier sometimes and talk with the guys. But, you know, before that, I like to do a lot of things to prep myself. Yeah. Right? Because I only have so much time to work on myself, because I got this thing to run, and everything else we're doing takes a lot of time. But yeah, so I I want to talk about like goals.
Okay.
So do you have how do your goals look? Like how do you write them out?
So
like 1 year, 5 year, like.
So I write them off by quarters.
By quarters, okay.
And then 1 year.
Okay.
So this quarter we're specifically focusing on one, raising a lot more private money. Then 2, we are currently working on opening up our own brokerage this year. I want it to be a brokerage that focuses on the investment side of it. And I want my realtors to really be empowered to know more of the investing side. I really want to empower them to shake up a room. Like when they walk into a room, I want them to be that Rosa that can walk into any room and know what she's talking about. So part of that is a lot of education. So this year we're really focusing on pouring into that brokerage and outline of the way that we want it to look like. So we will be accepting applications. We will only be taking in 5 agents this year. So it'll be an application process, because not only are you going to be a traditional realtor, but essentially I'm making you into an investor as well. I want you to work on your own portfolio, because that's when you can maximize your potential, when you're pouring into yourself a lot more too. So yeah.
That's cool. So I think we've hit about an hour. We've covered a lot of different topics. Guys, I know guys and girls, if y'all are really interested in Rosa and whatever she's, if you're interested in what she's talking about, You can find her on social media. Where can they find you?
Rosa_the_closer on Instagram. The closer. On Instagram, Rosa_the_closer, or Rosa Vara, Vara, on Facebook. And I should be the first one that pops up. I'm like behind this like color palette wall at Home Depot. But yeah, that's me. So you can add me on there. You can be friends with me. I always say, look, friendship is free. You can automatically tell if someone's genuine when they send you a message, you know. So friendship is free. You can always message me on there. But yeah, I'm so excited. Keep up with me on there.
Man, me and Rosa, we can go on talking for hours. This is too easy.
I know. You're like, I feel like we're on a couch right now, and that we're just, and that we're just talking. Like, yeah, I love talking to you, and I love challenging one another, and I'm extremely blessed by your friendship. And thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you, and I hope whatever you touch turns into gold, because it will turn into gold. You're such a genuine person, and I tell you from the bottom of my heart, it has been a pleasure seeing you grow, and I'm excited that we started around about the same time, and I know God will continue to open the doors that need to be open. So yeah, I'll see you at the top. We're going to buy an apartment complex together one day.
Dang, that's on record. That's on record. We'll come back to this episode.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So that's it for this episode. You know where you can find me: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, all platforms, Twitter @JRClutch. We hope you like the show. Let's spread this message, share it, comment, send it to all your friends, and let's continue to grow, guys. I'll see y'all later. See you on the next one. Stay clutch.